Welcome to this explainer. Okay, let's be real for a second. Have you ever been casually scrolling through social media and suddenly you see someone you know or maybe a favorite creator flying in one of those incredible lay-flat first-class seats? Or maybe they're waking up in a 5-star overwater villa in the Maldives. And you just sit there wondering, how on earth are they affording that? Well, the secret isn't necessarily a massive trust fund or a lottery win. In a huge number of cases, it's actually a strategic mastery of points and miles earned through everyday travel credit cards. Today, we are going to unpack the exact blueprints of how everyday people are traveling the globe for free, or, at least nearly free. But before we get into the glamorous destinations and the luxury flights, we absolutely have to talk about safety first. Because credit cards, they're a double-edged sword. If you don't know how to safely fly the plane, you're going to crash, period. So if you're ready to learn the exact mechanics of travel hacking while fiercely protecting your finances, you are exactly in the right place. Let's get into it. All right, here is our quick flight plan for today. We're kicking things off with Phase 1, Ground School, which covers the absolute essential credit rules. Then, Phase 2 is our pre-flight checklist to see if this hobby actually fits your lifestyle. In Phase 3, the Fuel, we'll break down the points and the optimal card setups. And finally, Phase 4 is Takeoff, where we walk through the literal step-by-step process of booking that dream trip. Phase 1, Ground School, the Golden Credit Rules. Let's dive right in. Listen, travel rewards are only valuable if you avoid the pitfalls of credit card debt. I want you to really hear that. If you are paying a single cent of interest to a credit card company, any value you think you're getting from your points is immediately wiped out. Gone. To really set the stakes for why discipline is mandatory here, just look at this number on the screen. Americans collectively owe almost $1 trillion in credit card debt. $1 trillion. That is a 1 with 12 zeros. It's staggering, right? Now, I guarantee you that a vast majority of those people did not intend to carry a balance. Nobody wakes up and says, I'd love to pay 25% interest today. But life is unpredictable. Unexpected medical bills, a broken down car, suddenly expenses add up, and before you know it, people are trapped in this cycle of high-interest financing. You simply cannot, and I mean cannot, play the travel rewards game without a rock-solid financial foundation and a very strict set of safety protocols. So, to make sure you never become part of that statistic, here are the 5 fundamental rules of credit cards that you absolutely need to memorize before you even think about earning points. First, you must have an emergency fund. You need a dedicated cash safety net in a savings account. That way, when a random massive expense pops up, you aren't relying on a credit card to finance it. Second, and this is a big one, treat your credit card exactly like a debit card. Literally pretend the word debit is printed on the plastic. You should only be spending the cash you already have sitting in your checking account right this very second. Third, ignore the APR. Seriously, don't even look at the interest rate, because you are always going to pay your statement balance in full every single month. If you do this, you won't be charged a single dime of interest. Fourth, you want to keep your credit utilization low, ideally below that 10 to 30% mark of your total limit, to protect your credit score. And fifth, the most important of all, never ever under any circumstances miss a payment. And this chart right here brilliantly illustrates exactly why those last 2 rules are so incredibly vital. This is how a FICO credit score is actually calculated. It's like having the answer key to the test. Notice that payment history makes up a massive 35% of your total score, and your credit utilization makes up another 30%. When you combine those, that means 65%, nearly 2/3 of your entire credit score, is determined simply by whether you pay your bills on time and how much of your available credit you are actively using. Future lenders, they just want to see that you have a strong, reliable history of paying back what you owe without constantly maxing out your credit limits. By keeping your utilization super low and maintaining a flawless, perfect record of on-time payments, you basically hold the mathematical secret to building and keeping a 700-plus credit score. It's really that straightforward.
I absolutely love this quote from financial creator Daniel Brown. He points out, the biggest problem with credit card debt mostly has to do with our own behaviors around how we handle our money. It really hits the nail on the head. Most of us already know that high-interest debt is a bad thing, right? The mechanical math isn't the issue. It's the psychology. It's human nature. Credit cards themselves are entirely neutral. They're simply financial tools. Your personal behavior, your impulse discipline, and your risk management are literally the only thing standing between sinking into a stressful hole of debt or soaring away on a first-class flight paid for with points.
Which brings us to Phase 2, the pre-flight checklist. Let's figure out if travel cards are actually worth it for you. We need to take a hard look and evaluate if your specific lifestyle is actually suited for the whole complexity of travel hacking. Because the reality is, and a lot of people won't tell you this, travel credit cards are not the optimal choice for everybody. This brings up the ultimate personal finance dilemma. cashback or travel points. You really have to wonder why on earth should you bother with the endless complexity, the annual fees, and the headaches of travel points when you could just grab a straightforward, no annual fee cashback card that gives you a solid, guaranteed 2% back on literally everything you buy. Cashback is safe, it's easy, you never have to worry about blackout dates or navigating some clunky rewards portal. So what exactly are you leaving on the table if you decide to just stick to cashback? Well, when we compare the two strategies side by side, the differences in both mechanics and psychology are pretty stark. Like we said, cashback is beautifully simple. It offers a fixed return, usually without any annual fees at all, and it easily offsets your daily bills. Travel cards, on the other hand, are inherently complex. They absolutely require you to hunt for deals, and they often carry annual fees that can range from a modest $95 to a whopping $800 or more for luxury cards. But here is the massive game-changing difference. Travel cards offer tremendous, outsized value potential. You see, for many enthusiasts, travel points act as a psychological trick. They are viewed as this magical found money that sits completely separated from the standard, boring household budget. It's guilt-free currency that allows you to book fun, aspirational vacations that you probably wouldn't ever feel comfortable paying straight cash for. Cashback is undeniably practical for paying the water bill, but travel points? Travel points are about unlocking luxury. So before you dive in, I want you to look at this screen and ask yourself these 5 honest reflection questions. First, do you actually spend over $1,000 a month on your credit cards organically? You need natural, everyday spending to offset those annual fees and earn a meaningful amount of rewards without buying things you don't need. Second, do you already travel frequently? Think about it. Airport lounge access and free checked bags are incredible perks, but they only matter if you actually go to the airport. Third, are you willing to hunt for deals? The true massive value in travel hacking comes from finding sweet spots in award charts, not just blindly booking the very first flight you see. Fourth, do you have flexible travel dates? Shifting your vacation by just 2 or 3 days is very often the secret to finding those amazing low-point redemptions. And finally, do you highly value business or first-class travel? Because as we'll see in a minute, the biggest mathematical disconnect between a cash price and a point cost happens at the very front of the plane.
Moving on to Phase 3, the fuel. Let's talk about points, miles, and card setups.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we actually begin exploring the specific currencies and the strategic credit card combinations used to fund these trips. In the vast travel rewards universe, there are essentially 4 main categories of currency you'll be working with. First, you have your airline miles. These are tied directly to one specific airline program, like Delta SkyMiles or United Mileage Plus. Second, you have hotel points, which work exactly the same way but for hotel chains. Third, you have fixed value points, which act essentially like cash back, meant specifically to reimburse miscellaneous travel expenses. But listen closely, because the absolute king of the hill, the gold standard, is